Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the Spanish tragedy, and for a little something different, we get to hear from Hieronimo today. Except now we're in what some versions call Act 3, Scene 14, others call Act 3, Scene 13. It all got thrown off because there was a weird little Scene 12a shoved into some versions, wherein Hieronimo was talking to, or he was called out a little bit by a couple of his servants for acting crazy, but then he meets a painter who also lost a son and was talking through could you paint me this and paint me finding him on the tree and paint me cutting him down and paint me getting revenge, show me who the murderers are, and that sort of thing. So he still very much wants revenge, but he's not coping very well with his grief, and other people are noticing. So at the top of Act 3, Scene 13, or Act 3, Scene 14, depending on which version you're reading, the scene that we're in today, he's by himself in the Spanish court, because remember, before his son Horatio was murdered, he's like somebody who works in the government. He's like a judge type person. People would come to him with their problems, and he would try to get them sorted out. So at the top of this scene, he comes into the court and he's carrying a book, and he says, "Vindicta mia. Aye, heaven will be revenged of every ill, nor will they suffer murder unrepaid. Then stay, Hieronimo, attend their will, for mortal men may not appoint their time. Per secula semper tutum est sceleribus iter. Strike, and strike home where wrong is offered thee, for evils unto ills conductors be, and deaths the worst of resolution. For he that thinks with patience to contend, to quiet life, his life shall easily end. Fatis miseras juvant habes salutam, fatis vitam negant habes sepulchrum." If destiny thy miseries do ease, then hast thou health, and happy shalt thou be. If destiny deny thee life, Hieronimo, yet shalt thou be assured of a tomb. If neither, let this thy comfort be: heaven covereth him that hath no burial. And to conclude, I will revenge his death. But how? Not as the vulgar wits of men, with open but inevitable ills, as by a secret yet a certain mean, which under kinship will be cloaked best. Wise men will take their opportunity closely and safely, fitting things to time. But in extremes, advantage hath no time, and therefore all times fit not for revenge. Thus therefore will I rest me in unrest, dissembling quiet in unquietness, not seeming that I know their villainies, that my simplicity may make them think that ignorantly I will let all slip. For ignorance, I wot, and well they know, remedium malorum inersist. Nor aught it avails me to menace them, who, as a wintry storm upon a plain, will bear me down with their nobility. No, Hieronimo, thou must enjoin thine eyes to observation, and thy tongue to milder speeches than thy spirit affords, thy heart to patience, and thy hands to rest, thy cap to courtesy, and thy knee to bow, till to revenge thou know when, where, and how. How now? What noise? What coil is that you keep? So he's aware of the fact that everybody else is aware of the fact that he's not dealing well with his grief. And he's afraid that he's going to let something slip at this point. The first bit of the speech, he's talking a little bit, he's saying he will get revenge, and he's talking a little bit about how bad things beget bad things, and people who just want to live happily get to do so, and people who sort of go against fate and destiny wind up dead. So he's like, I just have to believe and take comfort in the fact that Horatio's murderers will eventually die, and therefore I will get revenge on them. But he wants it to happen sooner than that, and he comes to the realization that if he runs around like, I'm going to get revenge, I'm going to get revenge, people are going to notice, and that's going to be bad. He might lose his advantage. He might tip them off that he's coming for them. So he makes a decision by the end of this monologue that he's going to act normal, that he's going to go back to doing his job. He's going to, help people. He's going to sit quietly. He's going to be courteous. He's going to be patient. He's going to tone down his speeches to stop giving everybody the impression that he's crazy. He wants to appear like he's together so that he doesn't tip his hand and lose his advantage in trying to get revenge once he finds out who the murderers are, which technically he already knows that it's Balthazar and Lorenzo. He got the letter from Bella Imperia, and then he also got Pedrincano's letter. So, but anyway, all of that aside, at the very end of the monologue, there's a noise, and his servant comes in. He's like, there's some people here to see you. So 3 people and this very old man come in to see him, and they all have petitions that they need help with, the same way that Hieronimo used to help people and take petitions to the court and help solve problems and minor disputes and things like that. So each of the first 3 hands over their documentation, like, this is my thing, this is my, like, it's a land lease problem, it's a this problem, it's a this problem. They give him all of their documentation so that he can help them. And then he notices that this old man isn't saying anything. And he's like, and what's, like, how come you're here and not saying anything? And the old man's like, actually, I don't think that you can help. And he's like, well, what's the issue? What's the problem? And the old man is like, I have a murdered son. Which, of course, sets Hieronimo off because he also has a murdered son. But we will get to hear about that in tomorrow's monologue. So I will see you then. Mwah.